Story 1. Okay, so a lot of context is coming up. I'm 17, I have a full beard and a ponytail. This becomes important later. Was born in India, but currently reside in the UK. Natural English speaker, and currently halfway through my A-levels exams taken before you go to university. I go to a grammar school. I have a brother, 13, who has level 3 autism spectrum disorder and goes to a different school which caters to his needs. I will split this up into acts to help with the formatting mess I have created. Act 1. Oh no. This happened yesterday. It was my brother's year's parents' evening where the student and parent talked to their subject teachers, and given that I had broken up earlier than him, I decided to tag along. Dad drove my brother and me to school. After parking the car, as we got out, I noticed an entitled mother shouting at her entitled kid who was also in my brother's year in a foreign language in the parking lot. I made a mental note of this. So we walked in. While they completed the registration forms, I helped myself to some tea and sat down to check my phone, minding my own business until a vast shadow emerged in front of me. Guess who it was? The entitled mother, who I should mention was as large as an elephant. I just continued sipping my tea and looking at my messages when actual speech happened. Entitled mother, Me, huh? Entitled mother shouts at me in her language. Me, sorry, I don't speak your language. Entitled kid, you look like you do. Me, excuse me? I only speak English, Punjabi, and German. I face the entitled kid, can you not translate for your mom? The entitled mother proceeds to attempt to grab my tea. I swerve my hand out of the way. Everyone is watching us. This woman annoyed me, so I decided to annoy her back. Me, all right, I've had enough. I stand up, you want the tea, you can have the tea. I held out the cup, and as she reached for it, I moved my hand away and towards a conveniently placed bin, dropping the cup in it akin to dropping a mic. Me, you should have no problem getting that, given what pieces of rubbish you both are. You don't look like you need a drink anyway, miss. I walked off, and my brother and dad were ready to see the first teacher. The entitled mother shouted at me once again in her language, not understanding that I don't speak it, but I ignored her. We proceeded to start the first meeting. Act 2. Oh God, no. 10 minutes passed, and the meeting was now finished. My brother got extremely pleasant feedback and was given a chocolate bar to his delight. As we exited the room, I saw the entitled mother and her entitled kid sitting down opposite. If looks could kill, I would have died several times over. Fortunately, their stares didn't last for long. Unfortunately, something worse happened. Entitled kid, I want that chocolate. Dad, no, he has already had half of it. Anyway, don't you know about any diseases? Entitled kid, that R word has a disease. The entitled mother starts laughing, hinting that she at least understands English. My brother's blood starts boiling, and he gets ready to launch at them like a wolf. Dad has to hold him back. I got ready to explode, but God must have been watching because he sent an angel to our situation. Teacher, emerging from her room, the only disease I see here is people like you, the entitled kid, and the entitled mother, who are cancerous to our community and will not be tolerated. Unfortunately, your son time and time again has proven to be a menace to the school, especially in my classes, and I'm surprised he hasn't been more harshly punished. Please come in. Your appointment is due. Or would you like a lecture on how diseases can be contracted via consuming other people's food? The smuggest of smiles emerged from my face. My brother calmed down and slowly started finishing his chocolate, taking really big bites and consuming it really slowly. Dad tried to hold his laughter. The entitled mother was absolutely dumbfounded, and the entitled kid knew he had messed up big time. Teacher, I'll see you later for your appointment. Brother, enjoy the chocolate. My brother and dad both started laughing as we walked to our next appointment. Act 3. Oh heck no. After a few more appointments, the teacher gave my brother and me more chocolate for our troubles. We had one more appointment with a counselor. We got ready to enter her room when the demon and her entitled kid emerged from around the corner, screaming in their language again. The counselor also emerged and proceeded to defend us from this onslaught. Counselor, sorry, entitled mother, but I must ask that you leave. This is the third time today you've caused a disruption. Entitled kid, that kid has been chatting badly about me all day. Counselor, I find that hard to believe. What has he apparently called you? Entitled kid, wasteman. Dad and I exploded with laughter. No way would my brother say that. The counselor invited us in, but the entitled mother started running towards us. The way she ran was even more comical. My brother fell on the floor laughing. The entitled mother finally started speaking English, albeit quite poorly. Entitled mother, we follow this scoundrel all day, and he does not help me find the rooms I need. Counselor, so you've been stalking these people for 2 hours? Entitled mother, it's not stalking. This boy is a guide and should help me. She looks at me. Me, I don't go to this school. Entitled mother, yes, I saw you yesterday at the school. Me, I was in Cambridge yesterday. I can't teleport. Counselor, also, his beard and hairstyles would be deemed excessive in this school. Our policy on hair is... Entitled kid, interrupts the counselor nonsense. Girls have the same hair as him. Brother, girls have naturally long hair. Dumbo. He attempts to make somewhat respectable elephant noise. The entitled mother starts walking towards my brother. Brother falls backwards on the floor. Entitled mother, I did not do something. Brother, I know, I just didn't want to be crushed by your blubber. Dad and I temporarily died of laughter as my brother got up. The counselor had a smile on her face. The entitled mother looked at her entitled kid. What is blubber? Entitled kid, whale body. The entitled mother was so enraged that she threw her bag at my brother, missing his face. The counselor pressed the security button on the wall, which I didn't even notice. Apparently, security was only required for extreme cases, but everyone knew this had gone past extreme. Dad got in her face and started screaming stuff like, "What is wrong with you?" And, "Do you want to get arrested, you fool?" With the entitled mother just saying, "He needs it." Security finally came and escorted the troublesome pair out. The counselor gave my brother some soda to cool down, and we proceeded to have our final meeting of the day. Little did we know what was to come after. Act 4. Oh darn no. With all the meetings finished, and my brother getting delightful feedback, we decided to go to Nando's to get some elite rewards. As we walked out, waving goodbye to the receptionist, I heard Dad exclaim, "Oh darn no," and my brother started growling. The entitled mother, who I was now convinced was the mother of Satan who had probably assumed the form of her entitled kid, had summoned the police to the parking lot. Knowing that we had done nothing wrong apart from making the pair angry, but we could debate that they instigated each event, we approached the devil. Then I heard something that turned everything on its head. Police? Hey buddy. Dad? Hey police. How's the wife? The police officer was one of Dad's drinking buddies. It was sheer luck, or at least I thought. It turned out that when they got the call, the police officer asked to have a look, knowing that we would be there as Dad had told him on Saturday. Either way, I knew God was on my side. Police? Apparently, this woman claims that you've been stalking her for 2 hours today. Dad? Quite the contrary, she's been stalking me. Police? I assume so. The entitled mother started screaming at the other officer, who politely told her to calm down, even though she was having none of it. The entitled kid was flossing for no reason, probably thinking that we would be sent to the tower to be executed. Everyone in the parking lot was looking at her. She attracted so much attention that she summoned the headmaster, a bit posh lad who had been well informed of her pesky deeds, and the caretaker, holding the laptop. Headmaster, it seems there is a problem, officer. Police, you wouldn't happen to know about this situation, would you, kind sir? Headmaster, I took the liberty of pulling the CCTV scattered around the school, highlighting this woman's heinous doings. I am not a lawyer, good sir, but I can assure you that these 3 men are innocent of any crime apart from that beard. He points at me. Everyone apart from the entitled ignoramuses was laughing. The entitled mother turned as pale as a ghost, looking like she saw one herself. Adrenaline probably kicked in, and she made another run towards the caretaker, presumably aiming for his laptop, but the police officer stopped her in her tracks. The entitled kid finally knew that he had lost and started bawling, so the other officer placed him in the police car. The police officer pinned the entitled mother against the wall. Police, you do not have to say anything. Entitled mother, start screaming assault. Assault! Police, this is an assault, ma'am. This is an arrest for attempting to resist. Entitled mother, racist. Police, it isn't racism either, ma'am. Would you like me to tell you all your charges? The entitled mother let out a soul-piercing screech and was promptly placed in the police car. Everyone involved gave a statement, including both the teacher and the counselor, who stayed 30 minutes late to do so. We never brought race into it, We only called her silly. The entitled kid has apparently been suspended, and we may see the entitled mother in court. I don't study law, and I have no idea how any of it works. Oh well, we all had a good laugh about it before the three of us had a cheeky Nando's to celebrate my brother's results. And as luck would have it, who do we find there? The teacher herself. It turns out her boyfriend or husband or whoever was the manager and gave us a discount for more of our troubles. I will probably never live down how silly yet funny this day was. Story 2. This literally just happened. I had my kiddo at the park after picking her up from daycare. I usually have her there from about 5:10 to 6:30-ish when we head home for dinner, bath, and do the bedtime routine. I always bring a snack because she's absolutely starving by then, but we find if she eats dinner too early, she gets hungry again at bedtime. So she has a snack at the park, then a late dinner. It works for us and has never been a problem until tonight. So I'm sitting on a bench minding my own business. My kiddo is running amok. A few other kids are there, but it's usually pretty scarce at this hour. My kiddo comes over asking for a snack, and I take out a little bento box with a couple of cucumber and carrot sticks, dip, and a strawberry. Literally one fat little strawberry. Kiddo takes the snacks and sits down on the ground. This other kid about her age was lurking and staring, as little kids do, then took off to his mom sitting on another bench nearby. I didn't hear him, but obviously it went along the lines of "Moo, I'm hungry," and then he turned and pointed to us. This woman gets up and, while marching over, yells "no," while pointing to my kid in a ruder tone of voice than I would use with my actual dog. My kid, sitting there with a half-eaten strawberry in her hands, looks over and freezes as commanded, and as I'm about to be like, "What the heck?" the entitled mother says, "You cannot bring snacks unless you plan to share," as she stops and stands in front of us. I start telling her pretty politely, considering the circumstances, to go ahead and get lost, while motioning to kiddo that she's okay to keep eating. Kiddo does, and as she slowly dips the strawberry back in the veggie dip, while watching the entitled mother argue with me, and this grown woman just loses her mind completely. Borderline yelling at my kid about her horrible manners, ironically, her germs, double dipping her strawberry was disgusting. Now her kid can't have any strawberries or dip, spoiler, they weren't regardless, etc. I told the entitled mother to get lost and stop talking to my kid like that. It's her snack. But I ended up having to pack up my kid and take her home because she was obviously insane and I didn't feel safe there. Turns out, kiddo is a champ and was totally fine with being yelled at by a crazy entitled mother. But she was very not okay with having to leave. Clearly, an epic meltdown ensued while the entitled mother smugly stared me down and, believe it or not, continued to complain. I'm so upset and wanted so badly to stab a carrot in her eye, but alas, one of us had to be an adult. She didn't leave us alone until she noticed a police officer approaching us from afar to probably check what the commotion was all about. What a crazy woman that was! Story 3. Preface. I work in a school as support staff. I'm not a teacher. I generally get to work at 8:15. Start time is 8:30. I arrive and go to the staff room, make a coffee, and take it to my workstation. My manager doesn't bother with small talk. She's straight into discussing work, asking me questions, etc. Often before I even put my handbag away and fire up my laptop. I get a 45-minute unpaid lunch break, which is a bit long. I'm usually back at my desk within 30-35 minutes. A couple of months ago, I arrived at my workstation at 8:33 with my coffee. My manager made a big production of lifting her arm up and reading her watch, which she can't read without glasses on anyway, and she wasn't wearing them, so it was for theatrical purposes, and remarked about me making my coffee after my start time. I made the 3 minutes up at lunchtime by coming back sooner than my 45-minute break. I take my lunch during the students' lunch. Their lunch is from 1 o'clock to 1:40. The following day, I arrived back from lunch at 1:45. And the manager was hopping from foot to foot because we needed to start class. I said my lunch is 45 minutes. Maybe I should take lunch before 1 o'clock to ensure I'm here at 1:40. She looks at the timetable and says that doesn't work. We have classes that go until 1 o'clock, so you can't take lunch until 1 o'clock. I firmly stated my lunch is 45 minutes, so that means I come back 5 minutes into lessons. She then stated that it doesn't work and that she'll get the school to pay me for those 10 minutes. I'm the union representative for my workplace. I said they can't. My 45-minute break is in the award. And in actual fact, if we don't get our breaks, those minutes are paid at overtime rates. I now take my entire 45-minute break. Even though I'm done with eating and smoking, I'll fill in the 15 minutes checking Instagram. I also still generally arrive at 8:15, and I now have my pre-work coffee in the staff room and don't ever arrive at my desk until 8:28.